Hello, professors. My name is Xu Liangyu. It's my great honor to do this presentation. My topic is the impact of investor sentiment on fund performance, considering mediating effect of fund cash flow. The main conclusion is investor sentiment is positively correlated with fund return without considering the mediator, and the fund cash flow will strengthen such impact. This is the overview of my presentation. First part is background and significance. According to the statistics of one database, it took 8 years for the number of fund products to grow from 100 in 2004 to 1,000 in 2012. And it took nearly 9 years for the number to grow from 1,000 to 10,000. With the increasing influence of public offering funds, it is difficult for many small and medium investors to conform to the assumption of rational men in the financial market. Therefore, I tried to explore the impact of investor sentiment and fund performance. The data I used for my empirical analysis come from Receipt, SISMA, and One financial database. When examining the samples, I selected the open-end stock funds, which have the complete 4 quarters of performance data every year and at least 5 years of lagging performance data. I used R language for regression fitting and testing. The table lists the variables used in my model. According to authoritative papers, I adopted quarterly turnover rate weighted by the current market value of A shares to measure investor sentiment. I also selected 4 control variables to mitigate the interference of confounding variables to the estimation of causal effect. I took the data of investor sentiment 1 period behind to solve the endogeneity problem between explanatory and explained variables. The multiple regression model is shown in the slide. Subscript I represents fund I, subscript T represents period T. Beta 2 to beta 5 is the coefficient of each explanatory variable. I used the least square method to test the model. The results indicate that investor sentiment has a positive impact on fund return. The more positive investor sentiment is, the higher fund yield will be. In addition, according to the t-test and p-values of each control variable, my selection is also reasonable. I also tested the robustness and heterogeneity, and results all proved the feasibility of my model. The biggest innovation of my analysis is that I explored whether fund cash flow is one of the mediators between investor sentiment and fund return. I introduced fund cash flow into the model and observed the changes in the coefficient and significance of each regression variable before and after the introduction. Results show that the regression coefficient of investor sentiment is larger than the coefficient without introduction of the new variable. And the t-test is significant, indicating that fund cash flow can promote the effect of investor sentiment on fund return rate. The impact of cash flow on fund rate of return is also consistent with previous studies. The two are positively correlated. Based on my empirical analysis, I drew such a mechanism flow graph. The diagram can clearly show the relationship among investor sentiment, fund cash flow, and fund return. As for conclusions and suggestions, the last slide can summarize the conclusion of my presentation well, so I would like to give some suggestions to different groups. For fund investors, they should cultivate the awareness of rational investment. For fund management companies, it is important to improve the information disclosure system and control the size of the fund. For fund supervision departments, strengthening the education of investors and promoting the supervision system are necessary. Thanks for your listening.